a seat, sip some wisdom, and stay a while. This is the Prosperity Lounge, where growth gets personal. Step inside, we're breaking chains.
Good evening, everybody. Let me get my background up here. Sweet. There we are. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. We're here early. I mistimed my timing, but I am here. We are here. We are here for our live after show. Behind the velvet rope. Behind the velvet rope, beyond the velvet rope. I think it's behind the velvet rope. Can't remember what I call these things. But this is our live after show where we kind of break down what we just read, what we just learned visually, saw, and everything else. So I'm happy. I was waiting for this episode. I couldn't wait to put it up. I got Diane waiting to come on here live with me. She's in the chat. It's so much fun. And yeah, so if you're here for the first time on these like live after shows, this is kind of where we break down what we just saw. We kind of look at the takeaways and breakthroughs that I learned from having my conversations with my guests. And I'm so glad that the guest gets to join me. And we get to talk further about what I learned from our conversation, because it was a lot. I learned a ton, and I can't wait to share that with all of you. Just getting some of the devices set up here. We make sure we got everybody on target. Rocking and rolling. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Diane. Diane. Hello.
Hey there.
How are you?
I am good.
First off, I'd be remiss if I didn't say happy belated anniversary.
Thank you. 24 years.
24 years. Amazing.
Yeah, it's work.
Yeah.
But it's good. But it's work.
My wife and I are going to be 26 this year. So I love it. 24 years. Hope you had a great night. And I'm sorry. I'll tell you again, I'm sorry that I sent a message on LinkedIn just thinking like you'll see it whenever. And you wrote me back that night saying, I'm like, dude, you didn't have to ask me right then and there. But I appreciate your promptness. No. So we just got done watching your episode. And this is one of those episodes. There's 2 episodes that I've done so far that I've quoted the most when I'm talking to my clients. Yours and Dr. Lanny Jones, who I had a few weeks ago. And it's sort of like I put the 2 of you guys together in a lot of things. And I'm like, God, what is this? Boom. And I have this explosion of confidence in myself and with others. And I have said so many times to people about the how you say things out loud is a reflection of how you love yourself, as opposed to how you hear things, a reflection of how people love themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, oh my God, for me.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So that part there, when I've had conversations with people recently, I've kind of been incorporating that into my coaching a little bit with people when I'm trying to get it across, like your mindset,
Yeah.
So, and I always said, I got this great episode coming out, and you'll hear why I keep saying this. So I'm gonna blow it up for you.
One of the things I teach my clients is teach the skills the skills that you really like. Teach them to other people as much as you can. The more you teach them, the more they really resonate for you. The more you implement them, the more you ingrain it in you. It becomes more of a nervous system change, not just a thought change.
Absolutely. It was definitely an incredible eye opener for me, because we've done this episode. We probably recorded it back in maybe early December, and here it is, beginning of February. So my skills as a recorder and my skills as an interviewer have gotten better. And I apologize at the end there. It was a little bit of a delay, and it sounds like I'm talking over you at some part.
Well, and I could see that I didn't respond to you too, so it was just a little off. So because I was
Yeah.
like, I'm sitting there nodding, but it didn't quite match. But it's all good.
I think the takeaway from that is going to be still. My wife looked at me and she goes, "You got to edit that." And I was like, "I don't know if I can." It's already kind of late, but it just kind of goes to show you like how people can you improve over time, right? That was somebody. You're probably the third or fourth episode I did under this new system, and now I'm on like 20. So I've gotten better. And I say all that to say this: I've learned lessons along the way, and yours from your conversation, like I said, is one of the ones I carry with me the most, and that is that I love myself more than people love me. And well, maybe not more than people love me, but I love myself more than people love me. That's what I'm saying. And I don't care what other people really say, because I know that I love myself more than they love me, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And I stop giving myself empty platitudes, because when I say I mean, I am awesome. Not that I think I am awesome.
Yeah. I used to practice like I actually use the word awesome too, but when I was running and stuff, I would actually put my arms out and be like, I'm awesome. I'm an awesome coach. I'm an awesome therapist. I've always known I was an awesome therapist, but switching into coaching really kind of changed my brain for a little bit. And I was like, I'm good at therapy, but I didn't see myself as a great coach for a little while. And so I really had to practice being like, I'm an awesome coach. And like really stepping into, what does an awesome coach talk like? How does she speak to herself? How does she dress? How does she show up? And really start taking that identity on, not just saying it, but stepping into that person.
Yeah, I think people recently had asked me when I'm telling my story to them about like, why am I not a financial advisor? And I kind of, in that story process of telling them why I'm not a financial advisor, sometimes they ask for it, sometimes they just want to know like, how did I become a coach? And it always goes down the line of, why did I become a financial advisor? And I can look at it as being one of those failure things, right? We talked about in the episode of like, did I set myself up to fail before I even started? Like I never became an advisor, but I told somebody, I had a course that changed my life. It was a behavioral finance course. And I realized at that point that I'd be an okay advisor, but I'd be a kick-ass coach. Yeah. And when I started saying that recently to myself, like, I am a kick-ass coach. Like, there's no shame in me thinking that I'd be an okay advisor, because it's not what I was destined to do. But if I'm destined to be a coach, I might as well be a kick-ass coach than just be an average coach. Yeah. So I love that kind of that mindset there.
Yeah, I love that. I want to go back to just real quick something you said earlier is I love myself more than other people love me. And the other part is kind of, a lot of times people will feel bad that they care what other people think. And we are designed to care what other people think. So I want to say there's nothing wrong with caring what other people. A lot of times people will start sessions and they'll say, I know I shouldn't care what other people think. And my thought is, no, we are created to care what other people think. We just have to learn to work with that. We have to learn to understand that it is okay to care what other people think, but not more than what we think about ourselves.
Sure.
Because if you think about back in the day when we were living in caves and such, we had to be part of the community. Like if the community exiled us, we literally would die. And so our brain still tells us, if somebody doesn't like us, we'll die. And we have to remind ourselves that's just our brain's programming that's old and outdated, and I can work with it.
Right. Okay. And I guess to your point then, caring what other people think obviously helps us maybe shape how we should proceed, because if I sit there and go, I don't care about whether or not I commit a crime, but other people care, that kind of puts the reflection, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. So it kind of gives you some check. But if I live solely for what other people think, then that's a problem as well.
Yes. Yeah. I would say though, is if we are loving ourselves, we wouldn't commit a crime. If you are loving yourself, you're not going to go commit a crime. That doesn't align with the person who's loving themselves.
True.
And I say that, but then we all speed. So I'm not talking about speeding crime.
My wife watches IT a lot, and I come in on half those episodes and see like that person really likes themselves and they're out there committing. I just don't think they're going to get caught. I think that's the problem. So I have a few takeaways from our episode. I have actually, let me go through my notes here.
Go for it.
I have 5 takeaways.
Okay.
All right. So first takeaway. So for those of you who are in the chat or catching up on the replay, feel free to drop questions, reflections, or moments that stood out to you. This part is all about integration and making sure that we, connect. And if you learn something, drop it in the chat. You always go back and watch it later, and I'll give Diane's all contact information so we can connect. But my first takeaway was, you're not broken, you're wired. And it was this takeaway where this idea that reactivity is not a character flaw, it's wiring. And you say something about you're not broken, your brain did its job. Why is that such an important reframe for people?
Because a lot of times if we start feeling like we're broken and there's something wrong with us, we get into shame. And instead, there is nothing wrong with us. When we can reframe that, we can go, oh, this is just a glitch that I have to learn to work with. I am not broken. There's nothing wrong with me. There is no reason to get anxious, because here's what will happen is we start to spiral. So if I feel like there's something wrong with me, then I start judging, and then I get angry that I'm judging, or frustrated. And then we start to spiral and we get angry that we're frustrated, that we're judging. And so we start stacking on all these layers. So it's really important to be like, I'm the way I am, and there's nothing wrong with me. It is okay.
Right.
I feel the way I feel, and that's okay. I don't need fixed. So changing that mentality makes it feel hopeful. Instead of, I am broken, there is something wrong with me. It's, I need tweaked. I need to learn how to massage and work with what I have. And
that reframe helps to reduce shame, and it does so pretty quickly.
Yeah. And it gives us hope. If you feel hopeless, I mean, for 19 years, I worked in a mental health emergency room, and we assessed for people's risk of suicide and homicide. And one of the things that we assessed for was hope. If people felt hopeless, they were much more likely to do something high risk. Hope is really important. And when we remove that hope that we can change or we can improve ourselves, we're at risk of making poor decisions.
Now, one of the things that keeps the brain hijack active is shame. And we talked about the reframe reducing shame, but shame itself is just, that's one of those overarching, I don't know, things in the closet, those dark things you have to shut the door on, I guess. I don't know.
So even letting go of judgment of shame and just being like, I'm feeling shame right now, and that's okay. Where do I feel it? What does it feel like? Like, it feels like heat coming up through our body. A lot of times it feels like this sick pit of the stomach. So when we're feeling that, we just go, oh, this is shame. That's okay. It's just an emotion. What happens is when we're afraid of emotion, we give it power.
Okay. Interesting. I'm trying to liken it to something, and I don't know if I can draw the right conclusion, but it's like, I said something like it's in the closet, like almost like, I was thinking Monsters Inc. real quick in my head, like, that comes out, you don't know how to react with it. It's all different shapes and sizes. It's really scary. And then like, you kind of like try to bury it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm doing a bad
But
job
instead of seeing it as scary, if you just see it as it's an emotion. Shame, there's nothing wrong with shame. Shame is an emotion, just like happy, mad, silly, frustrated, disappointed. They're all emotions. They're not good or bad. And so when you can go, oh, I recognize shame. What happens a lot of times, we don't recognize it. We're like, this feels horrible. I want to get rid of it.
Interesting. Now, most high achieving people that I've been around, and you probably have too, struggle with this more than they realize.
Yeah.
And I think it's coming to the realization they have shame, and they don't realize they have shame, and they just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. And what happens a lot of times is high achievers are running from shame. If I perform well enough, if I look good enough on the outside, then, and that's why they have such a hard time with relationships that are struggling, because They don't want people to know. They have shame about their relationship not being as good on the outside as the rest of their life. So a lot of people who are high achievers are running from the sense of shame. They don't want people to know that they have that. They
Because
experience
they've built up this whole facade around them, and shame is a crack in the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think a lot of people in our audience, leaders, business owners, parents, this is probably the first time they've heard of probably a compassionate explanation instead of a corrective one.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So takeaway number 2. Communication isn't the problem. This is one might have rattled some people, probably did me a little bit too. That was communication isn't the problem, safety is. Most people are doubling down on talking, explaining, persuading, and actually make things worse. You've heard that old adage: you're digging a deeper hole. You're digging yourself deeper. Why does communication fail when the nervous system doesn't feel safe?
So what happens is if my nervous system doesn't feel safe, the more you talk or we try to talk, when I try to communicate and my nervous system doesn't feel safe, what actually happens is no matter how well I say the words, there is pressure under the words. There's urgency under the words. So because of that, no matter how well I say the words, how perfect I word them, there is going to be a sense of urgency, not a groundedness to it. So communication isn't the problem because we first have to go get grounded. Most of us know the right words to say. Most of us know how to use words and what words to use, but we can't access them when we're hijacked. So it's not a communication issue. It's a safety. And once you're emotionally safe, then you can be vulnerable. Then you are able to reflect back and have a conversation. But when you are hijacked, you get in defensive mode. You can't be curious.
So we're talking about unsafe communication, even though we're talking about it sounding calm.
Yeah. It sounds calm, but underneath, and we've probably all heard somebody who their words sound calm, but you can hear an underneath like an undertone that feels a little threatening or a little aggressive. When we're hijacked, even the calmest tone doesn't portray that. And you think about, we have expressions, they're called micro expressions around our eyes and our mouth that show up too. So even if our words are saying what we want them to say, our micro expressions around our eyes and mouth tell a different story.
And then there's this whole thing of, and you're kind of right there. What I'm thinking about is this whole saying it the right way, but that doesn't do anything to override the wiring.
Yeah. And that's the idea of no matter what words you use, if you're hijacked, they're not going to come out the way you want them to. So having scripts when you don't feel it, like we all know when we're talking to somebody and we're like, their facial expressions, their words, their body language, it's not all matching. Like our brains take that in and know that. So when somebody's hijacked, even if they're pretending, faking it till they make it, it doesn't usually work. People can tell.
Now, this tends to show up a lot in like romantic situations, romantic relationships, but it also shows up a lot in work relationships.
Yeah.
But it could show up a little bit differently. So can you maybe give an example or explain the difference in maybe those situations of work versus romantic, where this would be, what it might sound like, just so people can get an idea?
Okay. And I would say the biggest thing is trusting yourself and listening to your gut, because your gut will tell you when something's not matching. Your gut will tell you, but a lot of times we tell ourselves to ignore it. But a lot of times it'll still sound like this incongruence. We're like, their words say this. It's a little bit like passive aggressive behavior. Where passive aggressive behavior, we can get confused. We can be like, that was really nice words, but it ended with a little jab, or it felt like a little bit like a hit versus, and so you're a little confused. That's the same thing that happens when somebody's hijacked, but then they're on the outside trying to look like they're not. It comes out where you're like, it doesn't quite match. It doesn't quite feel right. Whether it's romantic, a lot of times romantic, we're going to be more blatant and we're going to say more hurtful things. At work, we're less likely to say hurtful things as more of the tone or a little bit of a passive aggressive underlying. Is this making sense or am I not?
Yeah, I just find it weird. I mean, in general, that we would be so hurtful to people we're so close to, and people that aren't that close to us, we're so protective of.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. You said we're
Yeah.
more hurtful with our close relationships. I'm like, that's kind of. I mean, I could see why maybe sometimes, but I'm like, that seems kind of just like completely opposite of what it should be. I think,
Yeah.
honestly.
But you won't see people say at work what you will have partners say to each other at home. And so at work, it's not going to be near as blatant. It's going to be more of a undertone. It's going to be more, you're going to walk away going, I can't decide if that was a good communication or what. You're going to walk away feeling a little confused. Whereas at home, people are much more likely in their personal relationships to say hurtful things, to be right out bluntly hurtful.
Okay.
And that's why timeouts are so important, to give the brain time to read and go and ground yourself and be able to come from love, because we will say the most horrible things to somebody and then we want to take it back later and we can't. You can't take them back.
Once the genie's out of the bottle.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. So I was going to say, like, the passive aggressive thing of, like, when I'm doing the dishes, if I say to my wife, thanks for doing the dishes as I'm doing the dishes, that's not, I'm thanking her, but I'm not really thanking her. That's just me just being a jerk.
Yes. Yeah. And you'll find that at work, people will say those kind of little comments where they'll be like, it'll sound like a thanks, but it doesn't feel like a thanks. And so you walk away feeling a little confused. You're like, I'm not sure what to think about that. At home, people are much more likely to say things like, why didn't you do the dishes? Why didn't you take care of this? Or why isn't this done? At home, we're much more likely to be blunt and a little more hurtful than in the work.
Yeah, I just keep thinking how people keep saying we communicate fine, but something still feels off, and this definitely explains why.
Yeah.
Definitely explains why.
A lot of times when we're hijacked, 100%, when we're hijacked, we can't be compassionate. So even if we are communicating, we can't be like, hey, you're my partner. I care about you. You're hurting. How can I support you? We can't even come close to that space. So we have to be able to go and get grounded and be able to come from love before we have those conversations to be able to actually be beneficial.
Okay. Takeaway number 3.
Go for it.
Self-leadership changes the dynamic. You shared something pretty subtle, but I found it to be pretty powerful in the episode, and that was that the shift didn't happen when your partner changed. It happened when you led yourself differently.
Yeah.
What does self-leadership actually look like in the moment somebody feels triggered? That's when we start to break down a little bit.
Yeah. So self-leadership means you have a relationship with yourself where you go, oh my gosh, I'm feeling the tension in my chest. I'm feeling my breathing change. That means I need to go and take care of myself. Self-leadership, a lot of times we let our emotions run. Our emotions are leading us. We're self-leadership. So we're taking that leadership back and we're saying, my emotions aren't running me anymore. And so when you start to feel the sensations in your body, the tightness in your chest, maybe the tension in your head and shoulders, you feel or hear your tone change at all, that is self-leadership, is when you actually lead yourself away, or you have a power, I call them power sentences. You have a power sentence that says something like, I'm safe, I've got this. I teach, I'm safe, I'm okay, I can handle this, breathe. And saying that to yourself out loud or in your brain. And so you are leading yourself. It's not that you don't get hijacked. It's that you know how to interrupt the hijack and back out of it.
So
Because
is
we will
there,
get hijacked. We have a human brain, but how do
yeah.
you back out of that hijack and soothe yourself?
So what you're kind of saying, is that similar to self-regulation and self-suppression?
I wouldn't say self-suppression. Define self-suppression for me before I say that.
I would say probably burying them down deep inside and never dealing with them.
Yeah. I don't teach my clients to do any suppression, because what happens with
Right.
suppression is it's underneath and we just keep slapping on better thoughts or
Yeah.
better ways of but underneath it's still simmering, and so it seeps out. So I
And
don't
that's when
I
it
don't
just
encourage any
explodes.
yes. Or it
Okay.
may not even explode necessarily. It generally it will, but it just keeps seeping out, and people will say things like, I don't know why I say these little mean comments, or I make little jabs at my partner, I don't know why. It's because there's stuff underneath and you're just slapping better thoughts on. You haven't dealt with the stuff underneath. So suppression, I don't encourage at all.
Okay.
I encourage honoring and speaking your truth. If your partner says something that was hurtful and you interpret it hurtfully, you just say, ow, that hurt. And you're not saying, ow, that hurt to change their behavior. You're saying it to honor you. You're like, ooh, instead of carrying that and holding that hurt and and it starts to build up, you just honor yourself by saying, ooh, that hurt. Ouch. I don't need to
So,
say why. I don't need to tell them that they should
okay.
apologize. I just honor myself by saying, ow, that hurt.
So I was wrong there.
I don't know if I would say I wouldn't. I don't
Ooh,
know if
that
I would
hurt.
say you're
I
wrong.
wanted to just throw it back at you and tell me that hurt. Come on.
Well, it
No, I
didn't.
got you.
I wouldn't say it's wrong, but I would say I don't ever encourage clients to
Yeah.
suppress
No.
anything.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to get it as like as a tool, but like when people can either, that's one of the things people tend to do is they sort of
Yes.
like, I don't want to deal with it, so it goes down, and like you said, it seeps out. And the visual to that for me was like a volcano, right? Sometimes you get little steam that comes here and there, and then eventually it just, but it may never erupt. You might get steam here and there that just kind of disrupts patterns and traffic in towns and breathing for the community. And that's what you can be doing, or little slippage of earthquakes, when the fault line slips just a little bit, and you get these little tiny ones, but you never really get the big one. Just letting a little bit of pressure out. It still causes damage.
Yeah.
But not big enough. And that's what happens when you start doing that, because there's only so much you can keep down without it kind of having to get out at some point or break.
Yeah, it's got to come out some way.
Oh boy. Okay.
So you had asked before, is it like something and then suppression? What was the other one?
Self-regulation.
Self-regulation. It is a form of, yes, it is self-regulation, but here's where I feel like it's a little different. Is it self-regulation, but you are actually training your nervous system. You are teaching your nervous system you are safe. So the idea is we have a nervous system that gets hypervigilant and it starts seeing danger. And what we want to do is teach it it's safe. Like we talked about in the video, is it's like a dog that barks at everybody, but you want to teach the dog who is safe and who is not, or what is safe and what is not. And so we're teaching our nervous system, when our partner gets upset, it's okay that they're upset. They can be upset. They can be angry as long as they're not yelling at me. So we're training our nervous system what is safe and what we can handle.
Now I wrote down a question here, and I'm trying to figure out why I wrote it down.
Okay.
Is in this section. How do people confuse being calm with abandoning themselves?
Okay, so I think what this might have to do with is a lot of times we will fake I'm okay. We will say I'm okay when I'm not okay. And so that is, if you do that, that is abandoning yourself. That is people pleasing. That's lying to yourself. So when we say things like, I'm fine, it's not a big deal, when it really does feel like a big deal, we are breaking our relationship with ourselves. Is that what the question was
I
in
think
reference
so.
to?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So a lot of
Okay.
times we will do that. We'll be like, oh, it's okay. It's not a big deal. But it does feel like a big deal, instead of saying, ouch, that really did kind of bother me.
Now,
Or
the
I'm
last
sad,
question.
or I'm hurt, or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's what I was getting at. But it kind of leads into this next one here about leading yourself. So, like anything, being like a numbers guy or an analytical guy, I put a cap at 100%. So we like to be led 100%, let's say, and that we're either going to lead ourselves 100% or we're going to let others lead us 100% or some kind of mixture in between. The more we lead ourselves, it reduces the need to control or lead another or be led by another person.
Mm-hmm.
So why is that so important that we lead ourselves so then we reduce the control we need to lead out of other people?
The short answer to me is I get to choose my joy. If I need other people if I'm putting I call it brain juice. If I have 100 units of brain juice in a day and I'm putting it on other people, I'm wasting that.
Mm,
And I kind of changed the question a little bit there. So your
I
question,
love it.
tell me about your question again.
But why does leading yourself reduce the need to control the other person?
Because when I lead myself, I have total control over my mood. When
Boom.
I'm trying to control other people for my mood, I'm wasting my brain juice because I can't control other people. So if I need you to be happy with me, for me to feel good, I'm wasting my brain juice because I can't make you feel anything.
I think I'm going to probably have a clip out of that, Diane, when I put up a viral clip of brain juice at some point.
I use the example, I have my water cup and I'm like, if I have this much brain juice in a day and I'm giving half of it to my partner, then I only have half of my brain juice. And it's like I'm flushing down the toilet half of my brain juice because I have no control over my partner. So if I sit there and be like, he should have done this and he shouldn't have done that and he should have, I'm wasting that brain juice.
Right.
And I need to take that brain juice and put it back on me so that I can be self-led.
Because the more you lead yourself and the more you are in control of yourself, the more then you could help others.
Yes, but this is my preference. I don't really love being in control because it feels like trying to control is not allowing. I'm a big fan of allowing. So the more I lead myself, I allow myself to be the best version of me.
Okay.
The more I try to control myself, my perception is control is very, it feels very controlling versus if I'm sad, I just want to allow myself to be sad. It doesn't mean I give sadness the control over my day. It's just an emotion I experience. Emotions come and go. But if I resist and try to control that emotion, I create a tug of war with it and it's going to stick around. So I don't want to control the emotion. I want to just be like, oh, I'm feeling sad. It's okay. And it will move on.
It reminds me of this concept when you talked about the cup and the brain juice and the filling up. There's this, I don't know the exact quote, this biblical quote or this thing from the Old Testament, this rabbi quote, but it was this concept of this cup and they get filled up and then there's an overflow of the cup. And it's basically like you have to fill up your own cup and then the overflow is what you are able to give to others. But you have to fill up your own cup first.
Yes.
And so when you're talking about if you give some of your brain juice away to others, there's nothing for you to, you have to be filled up first. And if there's extra, then you can give that away. And then but you're still always full yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
So that is, I didn't know it was in the Bible, but I have seen the Celtic story of the guy pouring the tea into the cup and it needs to overflow and you want to fill yours. And yes, I love that story because you have, it's the same thing with airplane masks. They say, put on your own mask first and then help someone else. You have to take care of yourself. And then you have plenty of brain juice to take care of and help other people.
Yeah, it's something called, I think it's called the, I'm gonna get reamed in the comments if I get this wrong, but I think it's called like the Velvet cup or something like that, or
the velvet cup. I won't.
Not velvet. It's like definitely a Yiddish word because it's definitely Jewish origin.
Okay.
And I can't remember what it's called, but the Velvet cup or I'll have to look it up and put it in the comments. But that's definitely the thing there. And it kind of goes to this old saying, this other saying that was biblical, is take care of your own house first.
Yes.
Or you're worse than a non-believer. And it's like you could say that in any way you apply it to anything. Take care of your own brain first, take care of your own mind first, your own leadership first, your own self first, and then you can have the freedom to help others. And exactly what you just said with the mask on the plane. Exactly right. Put your own on, and then you can help others.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Chills. This makes so much sense, man. This connects to leadership, money, decision making, when you don't lead yourself, something else will lead you. And that could be fear, that could be urgency, or old patterns.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Learning to lead ourselves is the most valuable tool I think there is. And it's a lot of the same skills for everybody, but knowing what that looks like for you. Where are the areas that I tend to let other people or other things lead me? And then how do I start taking that back and putting it back, taking ownership of it and putting it back on me?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Man, I'm gonna have to rewatch this episode tonight too, because I'm getting more takeaways from the takeaway. Okay. Number 4. I titled this as "The Same Wiring Shows Up Everywhere." One thing that stood out was, and this is where my work overlaps with yours a little bit, is how the same wiring that shows up in love also shows up in money, career, stability. We see people quit jobs when things get uncomfortable, avoid finances when they feel overwhelmed, or chase relief instead of safety. And I didn't realize it was a nervous system thing, but it is, thanks to you. Why does the nervous system not distinguish, or can it not distinguish between like emotional danger and, let's say, like financial stress?
I feel like if I'm going to try answering this, if I don't answer it, redirect me. I feel like the answer is, in our brain, danger is danger. And so when we're uncomfortable, our brain says it's danger. And a lot of times it's not. And so if I'm financially stressed, my brain says that's a dangerous topic. If I go there, everything we do is to feel better emotionally. So if I think about my finances and it stresses me out and I feel like shit and have shame around it because I don't like the decisions I've made, then I don't want to go there. My brain says that's dangerous because I don't feel good there. We have an instant gratification part in our brain, which is very strong. I mean, it's our reptile, it's our on our brainstem, where we have this need to feel good now. And so if I start thinking about my finances and it makes me feel bad, I don't want to go there. That's danger in my brain. So I want to go to something pleasurable. So I'll Netflix or social scroll or whatever.
Interesting.
So we are very instant. So that's where we have to get in touch with our prefrontal, which is our wise brain, which is is concerned about our future self. Because when we're in our future self, thinking for our future self, then we can think, oh, I actually want to address my finances. But in our reptile space, we're like, no, I have too much shame around it. I can't go there.
So the shame and the avoidance essentially feels like relief in the short term, but it's creating more danger later on.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But we have to learn to understand that. And it's the same thing with doing work on our relationships. It's I have to be able to choose joy in the future, what my future self needs from me, over my instant gratification pleasure now. And so that's why when I start with people, I talk about who do you want to be? Let's get that picture really clear. Let's start talking to that future self. Let's build a relationship with that future self. Because then when you can go to your prefrontal brain and you can think about your future self, then your future self wants your finances in order. So they're willing to take the discomfort of right now for the future self.
Phew. Wow. Okay. So even when there's things that aren't dangerous or feeling like danger, there's things that you can totally like I find myself a lot of times like working for the future. Let's say I'm editing a video or I'm working on some marketing thing, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go scroll and see what's going on the news channel or what the sports score is, and I just get distracted because I need that relief to avoid what I'm trying to do, because what I'm doing is hard, scary, and dangerous to me because I don't know the outcome. So I go back to a safe place of like, oh, what was the score tonight of the Tennessee game? Okay. And either that's going to be helpful or not, depending if they're winning or losing. But so I do that. And then I have to go like, okay, that's done. Okay, let me go back to doing what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
and then overwhelmed again. Okay, let me go find some relief in a quick video game or something. And it's like,
Yeah. And this is where you're actually pulling in failing ahead of time. Like our brain wants to fail ahead of time and just say it's not going to work because we don't want that discomfort. So we're just like, I'd rather fail ahead of time than doing all this work and maybe failing and fear of failing. So it's easier just to fail ahead of time for a lot of us.
yeah, that's why I wrote in the chat, in the live chat. I said I was the king of failing ahead of time because I would just not either. It would start something and then realize, yeah, it's going to be too much work, and just tell myself that. Or I would look at before I even started, go, yeah, it's going to be too much work. Never even give it a shot.
Yep.
That's why I delayed doing a podcast for so long. I was just like, it's never going to work. I'm never going to try it. What's the point? If I do it, who's going to listen? Who's just for me and my wife are going to listen. That's it. Who's going to want to come on the show and talk to me? Don't even try it.
Yeah, that's our brain. And that's where self-leadership really comes in, where when your brain gives you all that, you're like, that's just my brain talking. It's just trying to protect me. It's scared that I'm going to fail, but I'm going to lead myself down this path. So self-leadership really is catching all that and not giving it validity, not seeing it as fact, and redirecting it.
But the problem we have, Diane, is we repeat patterns even after we've learned the lesson.
Yeah.
So how many times we have to learn the lesson before we stop repeating the pattern?
But this is actually where the whole nervous system, retraining your nervous system comes in, where you remind your nervous system, you're not in danger. I know you think you are, but you're not in danger. We're safe. We can handle this. But our nervous system will say, this is dangerous. People might judge you. People might think you're crazy. People might, you might fail. People might think that you aren't good at what you do. And we buy into that. Whereas we got to be able to go, you're safe. You're not going to die if somebody doesn't like what you do.
That's true. Because if somebody doesn't like what you do, I don't know why I keep tagging on to what you're saying. What you're saying is absolutely perfect. And I keep trying to, I think I'm just doing it for my own.
Process it in your brain.
Yes. And I do it out loud.
Yeah.
You might not like what I'm doing, but there's 350 million other Americans or 7 billion other people in the world. And somebody else will like it. So let me just go over there. I'll find relief somewhere else, I guess.
I'm not for everybody, and that's okay.
That's okay. Yes. Yeah, I started telling people that too. I'm like, hey, show's not for everybody. You want to be part of it? It's not for everybody. And then they're like, no, I really want to be a part of it. Okay. That's what I thought. But this is kind of where we're talking here, a lot about prosperity, and it becomes holistic in a sense where you start wrapping in the emotional, the relational, and the financial aspects of it, and really having a true prosperous life in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you get all those wrapped around.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think you can separate them. When I work with people on finances, it's really so much about their relationship with themselves. And when they are loving themselves, they don't want to go spend all their money. They don't want to be in debt.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. 100%. Takeaway number 5. Small shifts interrupt big patterns. For someone listening who feels seen, but maybe a little overwhelmed, what's a small doable shift they can make maybe this week to interrupt a brain hijack moment?
I would say the first thing to do is the smallest thing you can do is just to start watching. Start to notice your thoughts. Be like, I know I have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Let me just watch the thoughts. I use the example, our thoughts are like standing at a highway with cars zooming by. They just zoom, zoom, zoom. But the minute we judge the thoughts, we create a car pileup. What's that called?
Yeah.
A traffic jam. We
That's it.
create a traffic jam. And so when we judge our thoughts, it's like a traffic jam. But as soon as we stop judging our thoughts and we just observe them, they zoom on by. So you have all these thoughts and they just zoom, let them zoom. Don't judge them. So just start watching. The first step, the smallest step, is just to start watching your thoughts.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody recently on a previous episode, and they were talking about the subconscious processing. And I think there's something about, and I'm just going to make up numbers because that's what I'm going to do. But it was something like the brain processes 48 billion thoughts per second subconsciously, but we can only process like 48 of them or something. It's like this really astronomical difference between what we can and what's going on. And there's so much going on in the subconscious of ourselves that we can't process everything. And so I think what you're talking about, these thoughts that just come in there and come like the cars we buy, we're not processing any of those. We're not going to know what color that was or the license plate on or make and model.
Yeah.
But if you focus on one, well, maybe we remember one, but if you're not going to remember everything. So don't stress that you can remember everything.
Yeah. So the smallest step is just to start becoming the noticer and the watcher and notice what kind of thoughts you have. And being aware that my thoughts create how I feel. So if I feel like shit, look at my thoughts. If I
Okay.
feel happy, look at my thoughts. Like those are creating that.
Okay. So that's something they should start doing. Is there anything they should stop doing?
Judging. We humans love to judge.
Sure.
But judgment, especially self-judgment. I shouldn't do this. I should do that. I tell people, try to get rid of the shoulds, ought tos, and have tos, because the more we judge ourselves, the worse we feel.
Mm-hmm. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Mm-hmm.
But we also judge people too. Like I know I shouldn't eat, 2 cookies, for a snack. And then I look at somebody else, and go, man, look at them eating those cookies. Man, these guys should be eating those cookies. I'm stuffing cookies in my face.
Yeah.
Right. But it makes myself feel good. Like, look at that person.
What I tell people, what I teach my clients is if you're judging other people, you really need to look at yourself. What I learned watching myself was when I was judging my husband, it was really because I didn't feel good about me. I have learned that when I judge other people, it's not about them. It's that I don't feel good about me. If I feel good about me, I don't judge other people.
A lot of transference in that situation.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know I shouldn't eat it, so I'm going to judge others for eating it. It's like, yeah, okay. What's a question that they should ask themselves, or let me rephrase this, a better first question to ask themselves when they're going down this path of sort of reframing their patterns, interrupting themselves?
I like the question. My video's frozen. I don't know. Is it on your end?
It's frozen on my end, but I can hear you fine.
Huh. I like the question, how can I show up for myself better today?
Okay.
How can I love myself better today? One of the questions I'll ask is, if I'm feeling in a funk, is, what is it that I need today?
Interesting. Okay. What do you need today? And that's, you're asking that of yourself. And then
Yes.
defining, I guess defining is going to be the hardest thing to do too. And would you actually answer that question and then maybe like write it on a piece of paper and then have it like, all right, this is what I need? Or because if I say it to my head, I could always find excuses as to why I don't need that.
You can totally write it down, put it on a sticky. A lot of times it may change throughout the day. So what I need in the morning may not be what I need later. So I like just continuing to ask that. Like one of the things
Oh no, I think I lost you, Diane. Oh no, I think I lost Diane. Maybe she'll pop back. Well, let's see what's going on here. You're frozen.
enough time.
Okay. Are you there, Diane?
Gotcha.
Yes. You're frozen for a little bit. So we missed a little bit about what you said. You mind repeating a little bit?
Yeah. So I was just saying throughout the day, what you need might change. So asking yourself throughout the day, because in the morning when you first get up, you might need something different than later. So kind of checking in with yourself. And one of the things I'm trying to do is make sure I get up and move more. So I'm checking in with myself. Have I drank enough water? Do I need to drink more water? Do I need to get up and move? So checking in with your body and saying, what is it I need? And making that a habit to keep doing.
Got it. Okay, cool.
You're building your relationship with yourself so you trust yourself. So it's not just in your thinking, but you want to trust that I'll know what to do, when to do it, how to do it. But I have to have a relationship with me to show up for me.
Perfect. Now we had somebody in the chat here had a question, but they didn't put the question in the chat. They just wanted to know if you were coming back after we had our little Frozen
Oh,
and an Elsa moment there, but we're good. So if they put a question in, I'll get it to you here. But
okay.
Let's see. All right. So for people who want to take the next step, not years of therapy, not fixing their partner, but a good grounded starting point, tell them about the mini course that you've created. I'm going to put it up on this. I'm going to pull up your website, share that as well.
Okay. I saw that I just changed my website link to emotionalsafety.com. Powerful Questions Coaching is still there and it has a redirect, but so it's actually, and I can, if you go to emotionalsafety.com and then under free tools, it'll actually show you where to take the quiz. And
Okay.
then also the mini course is there too. And it walks you
So
through
what I'll do
the brain
is let
hijack.
me go ahead and go to emotionalsafety.com.
Co.com. Sorry, it's emotionalsafetyco.com. I'm sorry.
You're good. Okay. Got it. And now we're going to go. I love talking through things in real time here. I'm going to go ahead and share this now.
And under free tools, there's a couple different things. There's a question thing that says truth and lies about relationships. There is the yeah, that is my website. And under free tools, there's 3 different things you can do. And I'm in the middle of building a vault. Yeah. So you can do the mini course. You can do the brain hijack styles. It's a quiz to tell you what kind of style you have and then how to start. You can download a PDF that'll tell you how to start healing that, working with that hijack, whichever hijack you have. And then there's a truth and lies handout.
Sweet. Such good material here. Love it.
Awesome.
I also see something here called podcasts. You have a podcast as well?
Well, no, it's actually the podcast I have been on. I'm starting to link it. I am starting a YouTube channel. So there will be.
Hey, look at this right here. The Prosperity Lounge.
Yeah. So I'm going to link them all so that people can go there and find them.
Sweet.
And then I'm starting a YouTube channel. So
outstanding. And it's good. Is the YouTube channel the Emotional Safety Co?
Yes. Yep.
Sweet. What I'll do is I will send you a what am I going to do? I'm going to send you a collaborative link for our video together. And what it'll do on YouTube is it'll put it on a collaborations page on your YouTube home screen. And it'll also put it on mine. And basically YouTube's algorithm starts to send people who like my stuff to your page and vice versa. So then people can see.
Love it.
Yeah, they kind of just start doing that, and then we can kind of cross promote that way. So I'll send you a link in LinkedIn. You have to accept it on YouTube, and then we're all good to go.
Awesome.
And I'll do that with the shorts too. So anything we tag with you, that's how I'll tag you on YouTube. I'll just send you the links to accept it, and they'll show up there.
Love it. I did not know that worked that way.
They just started doing all this funky stuff with YouTube. So I just learned all that. Anything up in the chat here? Somebody had a question. Did you put your question in the chat? Oh, here's one. Do you think personality tests are beneficial?
I think they're information. What I get cautious about is using them to define ourselves versus we are always changing. So it's information. So like I am ENFP on the Myers-Briggs. So it's just information for me to go, okay, what does that mean? And how do I want to use it? But be really careful. And same thing with diagnosing. A lot of times people will be like, I think I have anxiety and they want to get a diagnosis. The problem is what we look for, we find. So if we decide we have some depression, we are going to be looking for evidence to prove ourselves right. So I think personality tests are useful, but I would just say be careful not to let them define you versus you using that information to create who you want to be.
Absolutely. You said Myers-Briggs. I knew I have one somewhere that I did myself, and I'm trying to remember what it is.
I love
INFP?
doing like little like quiz kind of things, like like personality things, like am I a saver or a spender, or but always keeping in mind that you don't want to make them be a deciding factor of who you are.
Oh yeah, sure. Because then you can be like, oh, I can't buy that because my personality says I'm a saver.
Yeah,
well,
we get
sometimes you can
attached
step out
to
of that a little
identity.
bit.
Say that again.
Sometimes you have to step out of that a little bit once in a while, because if you stay within that identity of what you are, you stay within the comfort of what you are.
Yeah.
And comfort doesn't equal growth.
Yeah. And the problem with defining ourselves into a category is that not only does it prevent us from growing, but then we don't see other sides of ourselves. We are some of everything.
Right.
It's kind of like that song, I'm a bee, I'm a lover, like we're both sides.
I found mine.
You did? What is it?
INFJ.
Okay. Yeah.
And I look
So
at
personality tests are intriguing. They are ways of getting to know ourselves and things about ourselves, but just don't give them too much weight and start looking for proof to validate and keep ourselves comfortable in that area.
Yeah, and I think the follow-up in the chat from your answer is that we can program our brain to be whatever they say. I think we can program our brain to be whatever they say. So I think by seeing that, we become that, and that's not what we are. We're that in the moment we took the test. That's what we are.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean who we are.
Yeah. It gives us information about ourselves, our tendencies, our traits that we tend to be like. But we do know that whatever we believe about ourselves, whatever we believe, we look for evidence to prove ourselves right. It's kind of like that idea. If I buy a car, then I start noticing everybody else has the same car I do. Nobody else has more car, like didn't get them just because. So,
Right.
But we start noticing that. So when we think, when I think things like, I'm not good at books. I had to start learning to change some identities that I carried. I carried an identity, I'm not good at bookwork because I have dyslexia, or I can't own my own business because I have dyslexia and I can't spell. Now with chat, that's all changed. But, and so letting go of those identities that we have taken on because somebody told us, or because a personality test told us. So we have to be careful, whatever we look for proof. Whatever we believe about ourselves, we look for evidence to prove ourselves right.
I wish that what you said was true about seeing things and noticing it more happened to me with money on the floor. I wish that was true. I wish I found the dollar and kept finding dollars on the floor. That would be outstanding. But alas, I never do.
But here's the thing, and it sounds a little goofy, but when you look for money to show up in your life, when you have a healthy relationship with money, money shows up. When
Right.
we have a scarcity mentality, things break, money ends up out the door. Like what we look for, and I have had people say that's not how it works, but here's the reality too, is if we have a scarcity mentality, we are always looking for reasons why money is out the door and there's never enough money. And so we feel that way. We create this tension with money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The chat's pretty lively right now. They're talking about plugging in. So basically going back to the belief thing, and the follow-up there was plugs in to say whatever we believe is also how we would answer the test questions, even if we aren't really that way. It's just how we believe we are.
Yes.
Right on. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Diane, I've kept you a long time, and I appreciate you hanging in there. We've almost done an hour of this, and plus the hour of the video. So you've given me a lot of your time, and I really, really, truly appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to bring up, Cole? We got your new website we're going to promote. Anything else you want to pop in there for anybody?
I don't think so.
I think we're great. So what I appreciated most about our conversation was that it doesn't ask people to become someone else. It helps them come home to themselves.
Yeah.
And you don't fix wiring by force. You change it with understanding, safety, and leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to put you on the spot one last time. I'm developing, I'm putting this out there for everybody. I'm developing a prosperity, what did I call it? I called it something. It was like a day, prosperity day, mastermind council, something. It's going to be a day event. I'd like to invite you to be one of the speakers, features. I don't know what. I'm just developing this last night in my head, and like, who am I going to bring on? And I want to bring Diana. So we'll put you on the spot and ask you live on the camera if you'd come to this thing for me. Be one of my people.
I think so, but you would have to tell me where and when.
Oh, virtual.
Oh, virtual. Okay. I've got another one I just agreed to, and she's looking at overseas, and I'm like, okay, now we're starting to talk about more time.
Yeah, they're talking about like how you going to pay me to get over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I would love to. I love this stuff, and I love it when people are like, when I started really studying and really getting into self-help, it's not even self-help, but this developing yourself and stuff, it was so life-changing. I was like, I want everybody to know this. I want everybody to know that you can create your own happiness, and your happiness doesn't come from someone else. And you get to decide whether you feed a thought, and it dictates your day. Learning how to not have a bad day, that there is no such thing as a bad day, because days are just like dollar bills, and it's what you decide to make of that day. And just really, I'll share a really quick example. This was years ago.
Please.
We just got in our lab, our dog, our lab, and she got into our barn where we have poison. And my brain was like, this is the worst day. This is such a bad day. And I had to remind myself, there is no such thing as a bad day. This is not a great situation. She was fine. We had to take her to emergency vet, get her charcoaled. But she was fine. But I had to remind myself, this isn't a bad day. This is a situation that happened. This is something I have to take care of. But our brain wants to and when I was like, if everybody understood this, their lives would change.
Absolutely. There's that sign. It's today's a good day for a good day.
Yes.
Seen that like up at,
it's a great day for a good day.
Great day for a great day, or whatever Hobby Lobby has posted somewhere, or Target has it up somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Awesome. Well, Diane, thank you so much. To everyone who joined in the live, and then also here on the chat or watching on the replay or whatever, thank you so much for being part of this conversation. If the episode or the after show gave you language for something you've been carrying, share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, everybody. And I'm going to say this, Diane, when I end the stream, I don't know if you're going to pop off or be disconnected right away or come back in the live. If you get disconnected, thank you so much. If you hang out, we'll chat a little bit more. Other than that, till next time, everybody, stay faithful, stay fearless, and remember, freedom lives where faith and action meet. The lounge is always open, and so is your next breakthrough. This is the Prosperity Lounge.